And I think it's like, how do we go into prayer without expectations?
Yeah.
And or the right kind of expectations maybe, or just like a different way of viewing it. When I think of like the Lord's Prayer, I feel like the Lord's Prayer it has a lot to do with like, and I don't know how to word this right, but it has a lot to do with us and our heart. So like, our Father who art in heaven, holy is your name. Like that, it begins with like approaching God, and I like these different like it begins with addressing God, and I like these different kinds of like. You have the Lord's Prayer. Have you ever used like, I think I've mentioned it before, the Jesus
Prayer, yeah.
Yeah, I have like this little bracelet where like it's like kind of like a rosary or whatever, and you can like say different prayers as you're going through the knots on the bracelet or whatever. But like, the Jesus Prayer is a great one. And I think that, if you're someone that you don't really know what to say when you pray, finding prayers like that are helpful.
Yeah.
Like, Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner. And like, I've even seen where people use that prayer as a form of like, they use it with their breathing.
Yeah.
Have you ever read about that? Like so you breathe in like, Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, and on the exhale,
and you exhale.
have mercy on me, a sinner.
Yeah, Lectio 365 has something like that every now and then, and that's connected to so many different traditions. The use of breath in prayer is used in a lot of different religious traditions, especially Eastern, forms of meditation. It's there is something physical about the breath that does bring the body into a quiet place. I mean, therapists are learning how breath affects anxiety and depression, and how it physically does something, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. There's something about using breath. And so when we learn how to incorporate breath into our prayer practice as well, it's merging practice with spiritual connection,
Yeah, and also I feel like when you think about it through that way, like you should, like, because life is so like fast paced and hurried, like you should be able to like use prayer as a time to like just stop and be able to actually like. I feel like you should be able to relax before God.
Yeah,
and I don't know if that makes sense, but like you should not be so tense and tightened and like just bottled up. And so I think like for people that are dealing with mental health stuff and things like that, like if you are someone that wants to pray, like there's breathing stuff that goes along with that it's like historically like has been used for a long time.
Yeah, and something interesting there, when people struggle with mental health, one of the responses that the church has always given to these people is, "Oh, just pray about it. Just pray about it." But it's like, what does that mean? Because the mode of prayer that they've been given is to go to God and tell him what you want and really hope and have faith that it'll happen. But in this way, if we're approaching prayer as like a calming practice that brings us to, or loosens us and dissolves the tension, things like that, that helps. That really helps people who are struggling mentally. And that's a way that we can rethink how to use this practice moving forward. It's not just, okay, I'm feeling really anxious. God, please take this anxiety away. Yeah, fix the problem, please, because I'm freaking out, But when we learn how to quiet ourselves more and more, and we use that as a rhythm, that's actually effective.
And I found like, the other way of praying, like just praying like God fixes. Honestly, it creates more ruminating thoughts.
Yes.
Like you just are like so focused on the thing you're trying to have fixed, rather than just like finding clarity in prayer, like finding clarity in quiet. I've had like moments of prayer where like the silence helped me more than anything.
Yeah.
Like I'll go into like a sanctuary at our church and I'll like just sit in like the quiet, like just be in the quiet.
Yeah.
The world's so loud.
Yeah.
So you got to find these moments. And, so like, I think that's a big thing. I think people don't necessarily like prayer because they haven't been given all these perspectives on like how like this thing can actually be beneficial.